Pam Bondi testified today, and she was on fire.
And I wish that you loved your state of California as much as you hate President Trump. You know, Senator Schiff, if you worked for me, you would have been fired because you were censured by Congress for lying. I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you
not
lied.
asking
You admitted you lied to be
accusing you
elected
of
a U.S. senator.
impropriety.
You
I'm asking
lied.
you
How
about
dare you? I'm a career prosecutor.
with Mr.
Don't you
Ballard,
ever challenge my integrity.
Democrats tried to distract from the big story that Joe Biden's FBI was spying on top Republican senators. Kash Patel's opening an investigation.
What we're doing with our partners at the Department of Justice is investigating absolutely everyone that was involved in any sort of politicization. It took them decades to build this corrupt institution, and it's going to take a little time for us to take it apart.
Kash dismantled the corruption squad that helped Jack Smith and his Arctic Frost team trace phone calls and track locations of senators like Hawley, Ron Johnson, and Graham.
You have, as you now know of, 8 sitting United States senators whose phone records were subpoenaed by the Department of Justice in the prior administration. For what? For what purpose? None of these senators are criminals. They have no criminal activity associated with them whatsoever.
There was no crime. Democrats went on a fishing expedition and tried to cook up a grand conspiracy to take down the entire Republican Party. Democrats' reaction to January 6th was so much worse than January 6th. Grassley says it's worse than Watergate.
When taken in context with widespread government weaponization against Trump and conservatives in the last decade, the conduct arguably is worse than Watergate.
The senators getting spied on, they're not happy.
Can you tell me why my phone records, when I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, were sought by the Jack Smith agents? Why did they ask to know who I called and what I was doing from January 4th to the 7th? Can you tell me that?
No, Senator, and there were 8 senators in total.
And the Democrats crying about weaponizing the Justice Department just got caught red-handed again.
Heard them say that Joe Biden never targeted his political enemies. That's interesting, because I could have sworn that yesterday we learned that the FBI tapped my phone. Gee, it sure looks like targeting political opponents to me, and yet I haven't heard a word from that side of the dais about any concern whatsoever.
Watergate was a media freedom frenzy, but this is getting covered up like the Wuhan lab.
Not only wasn't it an overreach, it's not even news. It's of course appropriate for him to investigate the time and nature, or at least the time and the duration of calls with members of Congress. It's a complete non-story, except that Jack Smith was doing his job.
I'm not surprised Zubin Tubin thinks it isn't a big deal. Nothing's a big deal to Tubin. This isn't even the first time senators have been spied on. Obama's CIA cracked into their computers, lied to Congress about it, then admitted it. For those keeping track at home, Democrats have targeted parents, Catholics, Trump, senators, journalists, and Charlie Kirk. Trump's whole inner circle got indicted. So far, Trump's only indicted one Democrat, James Comey. And when it comes to Democrats, they'll always have the CIA. Newly declassified CIA records show Ukrainian officials were really worried about the Biden family's corrupt business ties back when Joe was VP. But Biden told them to bury the intel, and they did. Imagine that. A CIA officer triggered an impeachment over a perfect phone call, and then they covered up the laptop and this corruption report. It's time Pam Bondi appoint a special counsel to investigate Jack Smith, Merrick Garland, and Chris Wray. At the very least, we should have a Senate Special Select Committee, hold hearings, and have these goons testify under oath. And if they lie to Congress, off to prison. As they said, no one's above the law. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley's here. All right, so Senator, how did we even find out about this?
Well, I think we found out because whistleblowers came forward, Jesse, with this information, which the Biden FBI tried to bury. I mean, let's be clear about this. It wasn't like they said, oh, listen, we want to tell you something really bad that we did. No, they lied about it. They tried to hide it. And then, as it turns out, they got wiretaps essentially on 8 Republican senators. This is after they targeted 92 conservative organizations, including Charlie Kirk's TPUSA, just because they were conservatives, all the while they were raiding Mar-a-Lago and persecuting Donald Trump, trying to keep him off the ballot. Jesse, they turned entire agencies of the U.S. government into their political tools, the Bidens did. They need to pay a price for that.
So what did they get from your phone? What were they able to get?
They were able to get the lists of incoming calls, outgoing calls, my location, when the calls were received, the duration of the calls, as well as metadata associated with the phone. And Jesse, that's just what we know about for sure. The truth is, we don't know the extent of their information gathering. We don't know what they did with it. We really don't know why they wanted it, other than, as you said, it was a dragnet. They were trying to destroy the entire Republican Party, beginning, of course, with Donald Trump, who was their #1 target, and sweeping up anybody associated with them and anybody who was standing up against Joe Biden. Because remember, Jesse, this didn't happen until 2023. That's when Jack Smith and his goons went on this witch hunt. 2023. This was all about politics.
Yeah. So what are we going to do about this?
Well, what needs to happen is we need a special prosecutor who's going to go at this hard. I mean, we need to get all of the corruption uncovered. What we have here is rot that goes all through the FBI, that goes all through the DOJ. As Cash said a second ago in the clip you played, they've had decades to assemble this deep state. We need to disassemble it. We need somebody who is going after every person who was involved in this, who's going to expose it. We need hearings in public, put these people under oath, start with Jack Smith. Let's hear from Merrick Garland. Let's hear from Christopher Wray. And anybody who broke the law needs to be prosecuted.
Completely agree, 100%, and that can't come soon enough. Senator, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.